Right now at 6, Portland police reveal a man shot and killed outside a grocery store appears to have been trying to stop a robbery. Plus, the FBI shares new details about who they think torched local ballot boxes. How authorities say the public can help track down the suspect.
One of the things that we continue to investigate is what the actual motive was behind this.
And could the Rose Festival, now $1 million+ in the hole, be facing an uncertain future?
But unfortunately, expenses continued to rise, and our revenues did not keep pace with expenses.
Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko. We begin at 6 with new details surrounding the deadly daytime shooting at the Gateway Fred Meyer, with authorities indicating that the man who was killed was apparently trying to stop a suspect who had stolen a woman's purse. Let's go right to Celine Stevens in the newsroom with the very latest. Celine?
David, so initial investigations are suggesting that a 47-year-old man identified as Jonathan Trent from Portland was just trying to help when he was killed at the grocery store this Monday. Officers were responding to reports of a robbery and shots fired outside the Fred Meyer on Northeast 102nd Avenue near Halsey Street just before 4 p.m. That's when they found Trent on the ground in the parking lot. He was then transported to the hospital where he was declared dead. The Portland Police Bureau says at first there was no indication that Trent was shot until he received medical care and then eventually an autopsy. The medical examiner has confirmed he died of homicide by gunshot wound. Portland police described the situation as awful.
And he should have gone home a few minutes later, and he didn't. And it's because he witnessed a crime and he tried to intervene. This was a good man who should still be with us today and isn't, and that's beyond awful.
Police say the investigation is still ongoing. So far, the shooter has not been caught, and police are asking anyone with any information to contact detectives. Back to you.
Terrible on so many levels. Thank you, Celine. In your headlines, Portland police have announced an arrest in connection with the fatal shooting in Old Town last summer. 21-year-old Malik Wilkerson was shot September 4th near Southwest 3rd in Ankeny and later died at the hospital. Officers now say they arrested 19-year-old Malachi Martin of Portland last week. Martin has been charged with second-degree murder. Portland City Council voted Wednesday night to increase office budgets for themselves and the mayor by a total of $4.6 million. That is despite a $27 million budget shortfall. The money will come from contingency funds and not at the expense of homeless campsite and graffiti removal programs as first indicated. The funding will allow each member of the 12-person council to hire 2 staffers instead of 1. Councilors Dan Ryan and Steve Novick voted against the proposal. Washington Senator Maria Cantwell says she has secured a commitment from the incoming Trump administration that it will honor funding for a new interstate bridge. President-elect Trump has picked former Wisconsin Congressman and Fox Business host Sean Duffy to head the Transportation Department. During his confirmation hearing on Wednesday, Duffy pledged to honor federal funding grants already awarded to major projects through their completion and specifically mentioned the I-5 bridge project. The total cost for a new Columbia crossing is projected to be at least $6 billion. So far, the project has secured just over $2 billion in federal funding and is eligible for another $1 billion in grants. And speaking of federal money, a computer chip manufacturer with 2 plants in the Portland area has just secured a $105 million grant to modernize and boost production. Analog Devices is headquartered near Boston and employs more than 1,400 people at facilities in both Beaverton and Camas. The company makes chips for cars, industrial equipment, airplanes, and military use. It says it is aiming to use the money to up production by 70% while making it more environmentally friendly, as well as to build on partnerships with local colleges and universities. Call it a day of opposites in the Northwest in these time lapses from our downtown and Timberline sky cams. Yeah, they tell part of the story. Chilly and dreary down here in the valley with abundant sunshine, blue skies, and at one point, warmer temperatures up in the mountains. Let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Matt Safino with the first look at your forecast. Matt, at least it is not raining,
right?
But are we going to take a break from this pattern anytime soon?
You know, I certainly would have rather been up on Mount Hood in the sunshine, even though temperatures cooled off into the 20s today. Way better. Yes, we are going to see a change in the pattern to answer your question. In fact, we had some clearing over downtown just a bit ago, but now the low clouds are already filling back in. Just 39 degrees here. Salem, no fog yet, but you're going to have it. You got low clouds, 40 degrees. When we look at the visibility right now, down to 3 miles in Salem, 2 miles in Aurora. But down in Eugene, visibility is a quarter of a mile already. Never really got rid of the fog, so dense fog advisory for the southern Willamette Valley, air stagnation advisories farther north because of the low clouds that we have. But that's going to end Friday, although I think we'll begin to see a little bit of improvement tomorrow. Morning fog, sunny days with east winds this weekend, and some cold morning lows into the 20s. We'll break that down in a bit. David, back to you.
All right, we'll see you in a few minutes. This evening, federal investigators are releasing more details about the arsonist they suspect of setting 3 ballot drop boxes on fire. Remember that in the lead up to Election Day. John Adams is live outside the Portland FBI field office. John, it sounds like at this point, agents might need more leads.
David, that's exactly right. But they do believe they know how that suspect built the incendiary device used to set those ballot drop boxes on fire. They say they used a combination of metal shavings and iron oxide. The FBI continues to ask the public for information after 3 area ballot drop boxes were set on fire on 2 separate dates in October. The Bureau now believes the suspect used thermite to ignite the boxes.
Thermite looks like metal shavings or metal powder. Each device likely contained a coffee cup sized portion of thermite.
Agents say thermite can burn at extremely high temperatures.
Welders sometimes use thermite to weld metal pieces together, but in the hands of someone who isn't focused on safety, thermite is extremely dangerous.
The FBI is worried the suspect could cause harm if they continue to experiment with thermite.
We are very concerned that the person who set these devices may end up hurting himself or other unsuspecting family members or neighbors.
They're asking the public to be on the lookout for a dark in color 2003 or 2004 Volvo S60 caught on surveillance video in October.
It's possible the suspect has done work to paint the car to change its color, repair the worn trim, or replace the aftermarket rims. The suspect may also have sold or tried to sell the car.
The Bureau has received numerous tips about the case, but are still urging people to report suspicious encounters.
We're asking anyone in the Pacific Northwest who may have had unusual interactions with someone or observed unusual activity to come forward and help us identify the individual.
And David, the FBI is also asking people to pay attention to the conversations they've had with people around them to see if anyone has had extra interest in this case specifically, or if people they know might have a newfound interest in welding or making incendiary devices. Back to you.
Yeah, definitely worth giving it a second thought in case one of us missed something. Thanks so much, John. Taking a live look now at the state capitol in Salem, where Oregon's next legislative session is set to begin on Tuesday. This is a long session year, meaning it can run for up to 160 days if necessary. That's compared with last year's 35-day short session. And guess what? Lawmakers are already in town laying out their goals and priorities. Blair Best and the team at the story is going to be watching it very closely. So Blair, walk us through what you've learned so far.
So David, it's really no surprise both parties are focused on the hot button topics like building more housing, addressing the homeless and mental health crisis, the state's transportation system, and funding education. This year, the Democrats have supermajority, and this week our team sat down with the new House Majority Leader, Democrat Ben Bauman, and new Senate Caucus Leader, Republican Daniel Bonham, to hear what their priorities are heading into this next legislative session and how they will work together this year. Or not. The governor today also reminded everyone not to forget about why they're here in the first place.
We have people who are living outside. We have people who can't afford their homes. We have people who need mental health and addiction treatment. And our schools just have to do a better job for our kids. So I'm going to keep bringing it back to why we're here and try to keep the legislature focused on those top priorities.
You can catch my full report coming up tonight at 6:30 to hear from both parties and the big question that loomed large over the last long session in 2023. If the two sides can't agree, will Republicans once again walk out? That's tonight on The Story.
Looking forward to it. A question definitely worth asking. Thanks, Blair. Appreciate it. New tonight, Oregon drivers now have a convenient way to connect with the DMV and renew vehicle registration. The agency showed off one of 9 brand new self-service kiosks now up and running at Fred Meyer locations, including one here on Southeast Market Street in Salem. The kiosks, which offer both English and Spanish, allow you to register your vehicle and to get your 2-year tags.
Right now, what you can do is renew your vehicle registration, so getting those tags every 2 years. You can do it here and walk away with the tags right as you're walking out the door. So it's super convenient for customers.
The DMV says it plans to install more of them across the state and expand what the machines can do. For now, the DMV Express kiosks, as they're called, are at Fred Meyer stores in Salem, Beaverton, Bend, Eugene, Happy Valley, Hillsborough, Medford, Oak Grove, and Tualatin. In case you're wondering about the Rose City, a 10th location is coming soon. 2 of the newest MAX trains are now on the rails. They're called Type 6 trains. They include digital destination displays, improved lighting and temperature controls, and improved security cameras. They also have predictive maintenance sensors so crews can make repairs sooner instead of waiting for things to break down. TriMet plans to introduce 30 of these Type 6 trains in the coming months while phasing out the first-gen MAX trains. Those have been in service since 1986.